Penguin Random House Audio presents The Birthday Girl by Melissa de la Cruz. Read for you by Brittany Pressley. For Mike, and for all my birthday girls and boys. Part 1. False Starts. 1. Last-minute preparations. October 19th, the present, 5 p.m. Ellie de Florent-Stinson had made a point of telling everyone she knew that she'd bought the house in Palm Springs for her birthday as a gift to self. Renting a Palm Springs house for a celebration was practically a rite of passage among a certain Los Angeles set. A flurry of paperless post invites with the requisite Rat Pack in the desert themes, landing in one's inbox with a predictable thud over the years. But Ellie always had to one-up, take it to the next mile, power it beyond the goalpost and smash it on the turf while doing an illegal victory dance. So she had actually bought a house for a little over $2 million. Renting was so bourgeois. Her phone had been blowing up with texts from excited friends for weeks. Can't wait. Me too. What should I bring? Ellie snorted. This was no potluck. She texted, yourself. It was going to be perfect. Her 40th birthday blowout at her new mid-century modern pad that night was the pièce de résistance. She'd flown in the designer of her favorite Parisian hotels to turn a neighboring farm-to-table, or weeds-to-shithole as her husband joked, restaurant, into a lush 19th-century Chinese opium den for the decadent after-after party. The first after-party would be held at the Ace Hotel's infamous drag queen bingo, bien sûr. The designer had arrived the week before with real persimmons in tow, €2 each at the farmer's market in Clignancourt, to hang from the newly bejeweled rafters. For the past 2 days, her guests had enjoyed guided spirit walks, hot yoga, mindfulness, tarot, and the Parkers' 2 hot tubs. She'd flown in the majority of the motley crew from New York on Thursday night via YourJet, the semi-private charter service app. The 3-day event had been arranged down to every last detail. She'd even coerced a new acquaintance, a prize-winning novelist, to help write the children's loving speeches to her. The party at her new home, Gulf House, so named because its original owner was said to have been the CEO of Gulfstream, was the icing on the cake, the cherry on the sundae, the culmination of a year-long bacchanalian observance of the commencement of her 40th year on the planet. Except nothing was going the way she planned. The hydrangeas were wilting, and it was only 5 o'clock, an hour before her first guests were due to arrive. Fully half the flowers had died from exposure to the harsh desert climate. Of course, it was Ellie's fault. She'd insisted on the fragile posies over the objections of her party planner and local florist, who had warned her that only sunflowers would be able to survive the desert heat. Ellie had nixed sunflowers as cheap, and so had to contend with the reality of the dead white blossoms. She wanted to scream, but instead texted Nathaniel, her long-suffering 20-something assistant. The flowers are dying! Fix it! Who knew October in Palm Springs would be as hot as Phoenix in July? Not Ellie. It was a goddamn 110 degrees out. And even with the cloud of misters over the pool going at full blast, there was no denying it was as hot as Satan's armpit in the backyard. She took some consolation in the postcard-perfect golf course view, the sky a brilliant blue overhead. Plus, once the sun had set, 4 hours from now, it would be bearable. Right? The house was situated in the south end of Palm Springs, in the old Canyon Country Club neighborhood, which was now called Indian Canyons because the land was leased from the tribe that owned it. Half the city sat on Native American land, hence the presence of casinos downtown. But Ellie insisted on calling it by its original name, the name of the country club when Frank Sinatra and Walt Disney used to golf there. If she'd been on the city council, she never would have allowed the name change. The older families bunkered down in the Vista Las Palmas neighborhood in the North End, which was supposedly more desirable because it wasn't leased land. But it was windy over there, and the views of the mountains were better on the south side of town. She'd fallen in love with her neighborhood's wide streets dotted with palm trees. Here in Indian Canyons, the homes weren't hidden behind high hedges or walls, so everyone could see exactly how fabulous your house was. Ellie could have bought in the neighboring desert city of Rancho Mirage, in the swank confines of Thunderbird, where Gerald Ford famously retired, and Barack and Michelle Obama were rumored to have bought a vacation home. But Rancho struck her as one gated community after another, soulless, moneyed, and contemporary. Whereas Palm Springs proper had a certain old-fashioned cachet, a star-dusting of Hollywood history. The house was on a double-corner lot and had practically a 360-degree view of the golf course and the San Jacinto mountain range. She'd fallen in love the minute she walked through its double-height, double doors, painted in a cheery yellow, almost exactly 3 months ago. "The second DJ is here," announced Lynn, her housekeeper from Los Angeles, who'd agreed to work the weekend and who was plucking out dead hydrangeas from the floral arrangements and making them look lopsided. "Where should we put him?" "In the game room," she replied. "Second, DJ?" asked her husband Todd, walking into the terrazzo-floored living room and rolling his eyes. "Do we have 2 catering companies, too? Or 5? How many people are coming tonight, anyway?" "A bunch," she said airily. Ellie tried never to answer his questions directly. How much was that handbag, bracelet, haircut, second house? "A lot." "Where are you going?" "Out." "What time will you be home?" "Later." They'd been in love. Once. They even used to have sex. Remember sex? Sure. Married sex and all the lameness that phrase implied. Hurried before the kids got up or fatigued after the kids went to sleep kind of sex. But now, she couldn't even remember the last time they'd done the deed. No wonder she was so uptight. It was 10 years since that weekend in St. Bart's, when they'd pledged their troth. Or was it troth? A trough was the thing pigs ate from, she thought. Although perhaps trough was the more appropriate word, now that Todd had gained 50 pounds after going on anti-anxiety, anti-depression, anti-everything meds. Paging Todd's libido. Or maybe it wasn't the meds at all. Just because he wasn't sleeping with her didn't mean he wasn't sleeping around, did it? Did she even care if he was? There they were, captured in that photograph in a silver frame resting on the piano. The 4 of them gathered near the shoreline. Todd, tall, dark-haired, as handsome as the former actor-turned-laid-off network executive he was, snuggling his then 8-year-old daughter Sam, the 2 of them looking adorable in matching white-on-white linen suits. They stood next to Ellie, in her one-of-a-kind Alexandre Vautier wedding gown flown direct from the designer's French atelier, the neckline falling off her bronze shoulder just so. It was the type of gown that should have rocked St. Paul's Cathedral to the awe of 500 guests. Ornate, ruffled, sequined, hand-sewn by blind Belgian nuns type couture. Instead, Ellie had worn her long blonde hair down and disheveled, looking like a goddess standing barefoot on that white sand beach, carrying baby Jiggy in a matching lace sling. Their blended family was even more beautiful than a traditional one, because you could read the hope and survival in Sam's mixed Chino-Anglo features, Todd's artfully unshaven chin, Jiggy's quintessentially docile English baby face, and Ellie's defiant smile. Now Todd was puffy in the face, red in the eye, sour in the disposition, less employed than he'd ever been, and possibly cheating on her. Sam, who'd always been her favorite, seemed to hate her guts. Jiggy, who was 10 years old.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?